back to the Kingsway Podcast.
Welcome.
We have a devastating episode for you today.
Yeah, we've talked about hell and other depressing stuff. Why don't we lighten it up?
Lighten it up.
With today's episode. The most fun episode I think we've ever put out.
This might be the most fun, but yet the biggest distraction/destruction we're going to offer. And this all spawned from one conversation I had with you.
Yeah.
A new song came out, which is actually the first song I'm going to mention. But we'll get there in a second. And I mentioned it to you, and you go, oh, that should go on my playlist called Songs of Mass Destruction.
I titled that playlist after the term weapons of mass destruction. You remember back in the past when a U.S. president said, I think they have weapons of mass destruction. Let's preemptively.
Yep.
Yeah. That's where that comes from. I had a playlist called Songs of Mass Destruction because I was like, if somebody knew I had these on a playlist, they should attack me.
They should attack you. And now it sounds like they're songs that are going to be controversial. It sounds like they're like songs that these are the saddest songs ever made.
The thing they can do to a person is terrifying.
It's mass destruction. So if you're clicking in and you're watching, I want you to know that today we are battling. I don't know how we're going to determine a winner. Maybe you will have to vote on our comments, or you'll have to send us little text messages, or you'll have to leave us an email or hit the like or the. Well, let's just say this. If you think I win, hit the like. If you think Ryan won, hit the like. And we'll.
Based on those two.
No, and we're going to do our top 6 songs of mass destruction, and I think this is going to be one of the funniest, but at the same time saddest, and journeys. And we want to know if we missed some. So by the end of this, if we've missed a couple, don't go there. But without further ado, Ryan, what is your first song of mass destruction?
Is that so? I need to preface this. We are only allowed. Here are the rules. Yeah, has to be sad. Mm-hmm. Only one Ed Sheeran song per playlist.
Yes,
for each of us. So, are you going to mention that new song?
Well, this is a different one than what you're thinking.
Okay, great. So, because mine is my Ed Sheeran song.
So these aren't necessarily in order of saddest. These are just our top 6 in a random order.
These are all so sad. If you've ever seen Hot Ones and the sauces get hotter and hotter, and they get up into the tens of millions of Scoville units, and you're like, you probably couldn't even tell the difference. They just hurt you so bad. That's what these songs are.
And we're going to do this in a unique way. We're basically going to tell you the title of the song, and then we're going to read you some of the lyrics so that you can get an idea of how sad these songs are. Yeah. Ryan, do you have your first song?
I do. Okay, my first song. And I think this is the one that sparked the playlist, but it at least was the one for me that I wanted to make sure I had a playlist for all my sad songs.
Yes.
Ed Sheeran put out a song called Visiting Hours. Buckle up your emotional seatbelt, boys and girls. He wrote this song while his kind of father figure in his life was dying. So he had a producer or something like that who early on in his career kind of took him under his wing and was his father figure. And he had been this way for a while in Ed's life. And so only recently did he pass away. And the first time the world heard this song was from Ed Sheeran through tears by himself playing this at this guy's funeral.
I watched that video.
Oh my gosh. It's a struggle.
It's a mass destruction song.
It's so good.
There's no way it's not on this list.
So
do you have some lyrics? Hit us with some lyrics.
This is a song to a father figure who's passed away. It says, I wish that heaven had visiting hours so I could just show up and bring the news that she's getting older, and I wish that you'd met her. The things she'll learn from me, I got them all from you. Can I just stay a little while, and we'll put all the world to rights? The little ones will grow up, and I'll still drink your favorite wine, and soon they're going to close, but I'll see you another day. So much has changed since you've been away.
Oh, my goodness. Dude.
Right in my feelings.
So that song, that was a part of the first discussion that we had.
Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, that's definitely going in my playlist. And I remember going like, what playlist is that? Like, that's the worst playlist. So That's a good one. If you haven't heard it, make sure you check it out. My first song on mine.
Make sure you put on your mascara first so you can make sure to cry those black tears down your face.
Close by.
You're going to want to listen to this on a rainy day.
My first song is by Johnny Swim.
Yeah.
Equally Devastating, because that is the name of the song. Devastating.
Yeah.
And it is one of my favorite songs that they've written in a long time. And it came off of, this is a couple, a husband and wife that travels and sings together. And they have a band named Johnny Swim. And she or he, I forget which one, lost both their parents in the last year. And I think it was her. And she actually wrote this song talking about how it was hard for them they'd been married their whole lives, her parents.
Yeah.
And it was like 40-some or 50-some years. And then when they died, they made it. And it was devastating because they miss their spouse.
Yeah.
And so when the one died and the other had to be without him. And so they wrote this song thinking about how they want their love to be that way. They want to have their love have this moment of being devastating. And so
if they lose it.
And so the chorus of the song says this: I want to love you until it's devastating, until dirt cries and my grave is waiting. Is it worth it if there ain't no heartbreak waiting? I want to love you until it's devastating.
Yeah.
And the bridge of the song is what always gets me. And it's where Abner, her husband, sings back to his wife, who sung this entire song, and he sings, ring on my toe, or ring on my finger, tag on my toe. That means we made it. Generations will sing amen, amen. Ring on my toe, ring on my finger, tag on my toe.
Yeah.
That means we made it. And it's this whole concept of when the one died, they had to go identify the body and say goodbye at the coroner's office, and they took the ring off the finger, this wedding ring, and there was a tag on the toe from the coroner, and that's how they knew they made it through their whole marriage.
Yeah.
And you listen to this, and not only that, but the video is the montage of their love from their first date to the current time with their children and their family. It is overwhelmingly amazing, and currently one of the most devastating songs I listen to on a regular basis.
I feel like this is the trend with a lot of the songs you're picking, because we're in different stages of life. I'm happily married with no kids, and you are happily married with 3 kids who are like elementary school age.
Oh, and my songs are going to reflect that.
A lot of your songs have some sort of like happy or worth it twist. A lot of my songs are like, I just got shot in the gut. Nothing happy.
Nothing happened.
No
I'm
redeeming
just sad
feature.
about
that one, it hurts,
Yep.
but it's like, oh, we made it.
Yep.
Mine are like, we didn't make it.
Well, what's your number 2 song?
Okay, number 2 song. This is one of my favorite Chris Stapleton songs. Chris Stapleton is the king of the raspy, folky.
I think I know what song you're going to too.
What do you think it is?
Oh gosh, I can't remember the name of it, but I know the song that I would choose, and I'll know if it's the one that you.
Okay. It's called "Whiskey and You."
Nope, that's not the one I was thinking.
This one just hurts. Okay, lyrics for "Whiskey and You."
Yes.
Which, by the way, Chris Stapleton is married, and he's still married to the same person. So this is just like putting on the hat of a character, or maybe it's a marriage from before that I don't know about, or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's a bottle on the dresser by your ring, and it's empty. So right now I don't feel a thing. I'll be hurting when I wake up on the floor, but it'll be over by noon. That's the difference between whiskey and you.
Oh.
Second verse, come tomorrow. I can walk in a store. It ain't a problem. They'll always sell me more. It's your forgiveness. Well, that's something I can't buy. There ain't a thing I can do. That's the difference between whiskey and you. Doesn't that just stab you in your little heart? Oof.
The other song I was thinking by him was Either Way. That was the one that I was thinking of.
Yeah.
That is powerful. That is a powerful. I hadn't heard that one. I need to go and listen to it again. That's making me like.
It's just him and his acoustic, and that makes it hurt more.
Dude. That's the other song is very similar. Where it's at the end of the day, you can either choose to go or stay. I won't love you either way. That's the chorus of that one. And like you're like, ooh, where it's like you were talking about, like, I've got
Yeah.
stabbed and it doesn't matter. That is where that song hits. And you're like,
This-
oh,
The chorus of this one.
Chris.
So every verse ends with "That's the difference between whiskey and you." The chorus is, "One's the devil, one keeps driving me insane. At times I wonder if they ain't both the same. One's a liar, that one helps to hide me from my pain, and the other one's long gone bitter train. That's the difference between whiskey and you." And it just every stanza of that song just stabs you till you're dead. Ugh.
So I have my next song is actually by a female artist. Her name is Nicole Nordman. You know the song I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's this song that has probably the saddest montage ever attached to it. And the song itself, if you are a mom listening to this, I repeat, do not listen to this song without being pre-warned. This song is called Slow Down. And I need to tell you almost nothing else for you to be just absolutely crushed by it. But the title is basically the whole entire lyrics. But let me just read for you. Here's to you. You were pink or blue. Everything I wanted. Here's to you. Never sleeping through from midnight till the morning. Had to crawl before you walked, before you ran, before I knew. You were trying to free your fingers from my hand, 'cause you would do it all on your own now somehow. But slow down. Won't you stay here a minute? I know you want to walk through the door, but does it have to be this fast? Let's make it last a little while. I pointed to the sky and now you want to fly. I'm your biggest fan. I hope you know I am. But you think you could somehow slow down. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It almost crushes me right now, even reading it. I have a 10-year-old, I have an 8-year-old, I have a 5-year-old. The amount of illustration that's in this that attaches so well to what it's like to parent and watch your kids, learn how to crawl, learn how to walk, learn how to run, and now you pointed to the sky and now they want to fly. It is too much. And it's such a beautiful song, and it just talks about everything through their whole life. Just a devastatingly beautiful and mass destruction song. What's next on your list, Ryan?
Well, I changed it. It's the same list I'm picking from. But because you did that one, I have to do this one to counter it. Stop This Train by John Mayer.
Oh gosh.
It's the same, but almost from like a parent to or a kid to a parent.
Yep.
So like skipping to verse 2, don't know how else to say it. Don't want to see my parents go. I'm one generation's length away from fighting life out on my own. Stop this train. I want to get off and go home again. I can't take the speed it's moving in. I know I can't. But honestly, won't somebody stop this train?
Gosh, that song. I remember when that album first came out and I heard that song. I didn't have the effect, and then I listened to it about 10 years later, and I was like, "This is the saddest song."
Yeah,
like that's like this.
It gets you no matter where you're at.
It really does.
Yeah.
So that's Stop This Train by.
I'm not gonna go further on that. Stop This Train by John Mayer. This and my next song are both kind of story songs.
Yeah.
And if you just listen to a verse, you'll get some of it, but you won't get the same. Like every stanza that Chris Stapleton song will stab you the same depth.
Yep.
But the story kind of songs just push the knife in deeper every time.
Ugh.
Gets a little worse every time.
My next song is a little different vein. It's actually a remake too of a 9 Inch Nails song that Johnny Cash did called Hurt. And it's such a good song for all the reasons that would make this list. I want to read you just a couple of the lines. The chorus itself is kind of what just tears at you. You can have it all, my empire of dirt. I will let you down. I will make you hurt. I wear the crown of thorns upon my liar's chair, full of broken thoughts I cannot repair. Beneath the stains of time, the feelings disappear. You're someone else. But you are still right here. What have I become, my sweetest friend? Everyone I know goes away in the end. But you can have it all, my empire of dirt, and I will let you down. I will make you hurt.
Yeah.
And it is this song of deep regret and deep trauma and deep shame and this pain that you know that you have caused some of these deep wounds. And then in the same breath, these people are gone that you can no longer seek repentance from or no longer seek forgiveness from. And you realize everything you've obtained in the end is dirt and it floats away. And your life has this meaningless thing. And in the end, the last lyric is this: if I could start again 1,000,000 miles away, I would keep myself and I would find a way. And it's this concept of maybe there's a different way I could choose to live now with this perspective that I have.
Yeah.
But
if I could take the wisdom from later and apply it to earlier.
Anyway, it's a really good song, really well done. And Johnny Cash, of course, is in his later years, and just a fantastic video as well.
Yeah.
What's next on your list?
The mascara comment is probably the most applicable right now. I'm picking Piece by Piece by Kelly Clarkson.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's a song about how her dad left her and her mom when she was young. Literally verse 1. The opening words are, "And all I remember is your back walking toward the airport, leaving us all in your past. I traveled 1,500 miles to see you. Begged you to want me, but you didn't want to." And then every chorus, piece by piece. It has the hopeful part, which looking back is a little sad. She's talking about her husband, who is no longer her husband. They divorced a year or two, something ago.
Yeah.
So looking back at it, it's almost not ironic, just like a little bit of false hope because of how things turned out. But piece by piece, this other guy, my husband, he collected me up off the ground where you abandoned things. Piece by piece, he filled the holes that you burned in me at 6 years old. And, he never walks away. He never asks for money. He takes care of me. He loves me. Piece by piece, he restored my faith that a man could be kind and a father could stay. Which, looking back, is like rough.
Oh, dude. And that I remember that song had a powerful performance on, I think it's American Idol that she sang it on,
something
or
like
America's
that,
Got
or
Talent that she sang it, and it was devastatingly good. I mean, as a mass destruction song, there's no way around it.
It'll hit you hard, especially if you were raised in a broken family.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a couple songs that are all kind of attached to a similar theme. So I'm sorry, but these are all songs that just absolutely tear me apart. On the same vein of what you just talked about is a song by NF called "How Could You Leave Us," and it is exactly a similar narrative. The song is devastating to listen to, and it's one of those songs that I feel like if you listen to it and you're not ready for it, like it's one of those songs that will catch you. And the saddest part of the song is this is about a rapper whose mom had 3 or 4 children and is a drug addict, and she's trying to get back off of this, trying to get better, and she never does. And she ends up ODing. And so the video is played over these kids being put in foster care and having these like meetings where there's like another person in the room. And it's just, I don't know how else to say it other than to read kind of his ending here. It's like, how could you leave us? Why would you leave us? How could you leave us here? Why would you leave us? How could you leave us? Oh yeah. Sometimes I think about like how you would be here, but how now you won't see my kids. You won't meet my wife. You won't be there, You won't be there. Sometimes I wish I could just call you. I wish I could just pick up the phone. I wish you were here. You should have been here, right? But those pills got you. Those pills got you, right? And the song itself just has him crying, genuinely crying in the background as he's finishing this song. And it has this feeling of deep regret, deep longing to restore a relationship that never can. And he's getting married, and he just had his first kid a few weeks or a few months ago. And I know this song has got to be just even more powerful now, seeing what it's like to be a parent. And it's a song that when I listen to, having my parents and I was a part of a family that did foster care growing up, I'm just like, oh, and it just destroys me. I mean, there's no way around it. It just destroys me to hear the lyrics and hear it come across. So that way it's on my list. There's no way it can't be. Next song on yours, number 5. We have 2 more.
I'm not even going to read 2 more for each of us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to read any of the lyrics, because if you don't know the song right now, I don't know where you've been.
Yeah.
I'm picking Driver's License by Olivia Rodrigo.
Ugh.
If that song doesn't make you feel 15 or 16, like exactly 16, depending on your state's laws and when you can get your driver's license, than like Where'd You Grow Up?
And give a little context. What's the song about?
So basically the song is Olivia Rodrigo, by the time she puts this out, she's 16, 17. But she was a Disney Channel star on the High School, the musical, the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all those words are in there. That isn't me making it up. And she liked a guy, and they were friends, and they were dating, and then this is all like lore. It's not confirmed anywhere. But she liked a guy on the show, another actor. They were dating. He dumped her, and then after 2 weeks started dating another girl on the show. And so this is a whole song about how they always talked about how great it would be when she got her driver's license and could drive them around. And by the time she got it, they weren't dating anymore. So she's just driving by his house.
Sad.
Just sobbing.
Yep.
Just like...
I thought that I know this song, but I remember I wanted to know the context because I knew the chorus. That's a sad one, man. That takes you back to the feels of that first breakup.
It's not as bad as like a parent or a kid dying or whatever, or like you messing up and your wife leaving you, like the Chris Stapleton song. But it's still like it takes you back to those early raw emotions about a young relationship. Yeah.
Devastating.
It's
mass destruction, dude.
Okay.
My number 5 song, I guess, is it's an Ed Sheeran song. We're only allowed one, but it is "Photograph" by Ed Sheeran.
Mm-hmm.
And why this song hits me is for multiple reasons. The song is about this concept of capturing moments in a photograph and how they, as soon as you capture it, it's gone. And so, like through this entire song, there's just this constant description of things that basically are caught up, and it's beautifully written. The chorus just goes like this: "So I'll keep you here, so I can keep me inside the pocket of your ripped jeans. Hold me closer till our eyes meet. You won't ever be alone. Wait for me to come home. Loving can heal, loving can mend your soul, and it's the only thing that I know. I swear it gets easier. Remember that with every piece of you, the only thing we've taken with us when we die. Keep this love in a photograph. We make these moments for ourselves, where our eyes are never closing, hearts are never broken, and time is forever forever frozen still." Yeah. There's this part of me that I have these pictures of when my wife and I first started dating, when we got married, when we got to meet our friends, when we had our first kid and our second and our third, and we have these staff members at our church that we've worked with, and people that we've and all these different things that no longer are a part of the current place. That the song just makes me realize how blessed, how amazing, how fleeting all these things are in our lives. And, of course it works well with kids, but it also just works well with like college friendships and childhood friendships, and remembering all these crazy things that you've been through your whole life. I think it's just a really good song, but it's also very much so a song of mass destruction. I don't know how to say it. It's really, really good.
This reminds me that after this podcast, and if you sign up for a Patreon account, I'm kidding. After this podcast, there's a song like that, but with a very happy angle on it about you and a significant other that I want to show you, by a guy named Cody Fry.
Cool.
Anyway, but my last song. You have one more?
I have one more.
Okay. My last song is a song that was so controversial when it came out. Concerts got canceled.
Really?
For this artist. There was a church called Mars Hill, and they were pretty controversial. They had a pretty controversial leader. There's a whole podcast out about that. Not one of ours, but like a show, not an episode, a show about it. They had a band led by a guy named Chad Gardner called King's Kaleidoscope. And so they were like the worship band for this church, and the church blew up maybe about a year before it actually blew up and dissolved.
Yep.
This guy and his band kind of not split from the church, but like separated from the church to where they were their own band. Maybe they do some stuff with them, but like they had their own stuff going on. They were no longer a worship band. They were what I call a Christian worldview band, like Switchfoot. Yeah. You don't get Switchfoot to lead worship at a thing. They're not a Christian band as a worship band.
They're Christians that are in a band.
They can't help but write lyrics from a Christian worldview. So King's Kaleidoscope goes out on their own. They're like a 10, 11-piece band that does some crazy arrangements of stuff, like trombones and flute and like 3 pianos going at once.
That's
and
awesome.
A small string section with the cello and everything. Like, they're so cool. 2 drummers usually.
Holy smokes.
So all this is going down, leading up to them splitting from this church. He's like experiencing a lot of mental health stuff. He has his first kid with his wife, and he passes away quick.
Oh.
That kid's name was Zion, so this is now tattooed on his forearm. And he writes this song called A Prayer. Whatever church he's at now, he asked his pastor about it. Like, he showed him the song, all the lyrics, and the pastor was like, do it. Release it. I think this is really healthy for you, and a lot of other people have gone through this. That song from this group that used to be a worship band had the F word in it a handful of times. But it's not a song about, like, flippancy, about just like not caring.
Deep pain.
It's a song about
hurt,
like a deep struggle with anxiety and just the weight of losing his son and all this stuff. So it's called A Prayer by King's Kaleidoscope. There's clean versions out there, and that's what I'm going to read right now.
Yeah.
But first verse, will I fall or will I misstep? Will I fall or will I misstep? Will I call you with my last breath? Will you be there for me after? Will I waste inside the silence where the fear is vicious violent? Formerly saying effing violent. Wicked sinner thrown to lions with no hope on the horizon. Will I fall or will I misstep? Pretty much an identical next verse. And then a whole section. It's such like a dystopian sounding song. It's so like sporadic and sounds like somebody's crying. And then there's this whole section where he just keeps getting quieter and his voice keeps pulling back, and you just keep saying, Jesus, where are you? Am I still beside you? Jesus, where are you? Am I still beside? And it just keeps quieting down and like just pulling you in. And then there's like 10 seconds of silence. And then it breaks into like God's answer, and it's super powerful. And good and whatever. But I saw them in concert, and they did this song. And they sat there for 30 seconds in a concert. That is grueling. 10 seconds is grueling. 8 seconds is grueling. They sat there after the last, Jesus, where are you? 30 seconds of nobody playing anything. Everybody's dead silent. And then they just start like, after 30 seconds, just like coming back in with some instrumental stuff and building it back up. Oof. That song. Yeah. Because he had anxiety beforehand. And so like his son, yeah, for sure that's going to mess you up. And that was after. So the reason the church dissolved was, in the simplest way, the senior pastor was a huge bully. So imagine that as a worship leader. Giant expectations on the performance you have to put on every week. Expectations to do exactly what he was hoping you would do and nothing else and whatever. And then you leave. You're like, I finally am okay. And then your son dies, who's like less than one.
And not to transition at all, but my last song is very similar. It's Eric Clapton's Tears of Heaven.
Yeah.
And it's Eric Clapton's trying to cope with something similar, and knowing the background to what Eric Clapton experienced when his young son, less than 3, fell out of a balcony window and fell 40 stories and died. Just the window was being cleaned, and they left him in a New York high-rise, and he fell, and he died. Eric went away actually for a full year and lived by himself and didn't do anything but play guitar. And if you've never seen the interview, he plays it on it's like a Good Morning America. And he's like, she's like, what are you going to do to tell your world, tell the world how you're feeling? He's like, oh, I'll do what I do. I write a song. And so for most of us, if you're listening and you're older than probably 15, you know this song. And if you're definitely in your 30s, 40s, or 50s, or 60s, you know this song too. But I want to read you the lyrics because it's very similar to, I feel like, this song, The Prayer, but it's obviously without the hope of Jesus. But it's with, would you know my name if I saw you in heaven? Would it be the same if you saw me there? I must be strong and carry on, 'cause I know I don't belong here in heaven. Would you hold my hand if I saw you in heaven? Would you help me stand if I saw you in heaven? I'll find my way through night and day, 'cause I know I just can't stay here in heaven. Time can bring you down. Time can bend your knees. Time can break your heart and have you beg and please. Beyond the door, there's peace, I'm sure. I know there's got to be more than tears in heaven.
Yeah.
And it's crushing to know the full story behind that. Well, I feel completely destroyed.
That helped.
Oh my
that
God.
was a good refresher.
Well,
Do
we
you
want to
want
know
one
we want to know the songs we missed. That's what I want.
Do you have any more?
Oh, I got tons of them.
Do you want to do one more?
What do you got?
Mine's probably the least devastating.
Yeah.
Out of everything I've said so far, but it's a big like faith one.
Yeah.
Like, anyway, I don't need to do just
I
one
have
more.
one.
If you don't,
I have one more that I can quote.
Okay.
So
let's do one more. Actually, you go first, and I need to
the
find it
one that
first.
I love that's faith based is by it's by a band that I absolutely love that I grew up watching. The song is called "Remember When," and remember when. Or I'm sorry, When I Remember. I don't know why I had that all jacked up in my head. When I Remember. And this song is based off of basically it's based off this incredible journey that this band goes on, that they go to Africa to provide kind of this tour of basically providing help to all these different places that are giving relief to AIDS basically epidemic that's going on over there. So they're going between camps and they're encouraging the Red Cross and they're doing all these cool things. Well, they meet this 10-year-old boy in one of the first camps after they perform a concert, and they get to shake this hand and they get to but both of his parents die of AIDS and they find out he's contracted it too. Now there's hope at that point that maybe he won't get sick and he won't actually die. So they go on their full round tour. Well, they want to stop back by and make sure this boy's okay. And when they get back, he's not there anymore, and he has died and moved on. And so the band writes this song, basically in remembrance. And there's this incredible chorus that it's a really cool song. It breaks down in kind of a neat way, but it's. Clouds move in, rain strikes, or thunder strikes, and raindrops break through the clouds. I cry out of sorrow and joy. Every drop of rain turns to crystals in the sun. So watch my eyes, my clothes, my skin, my bones, my feet, my soul, my love. I've not forgotten who you are and who you say I am. Every drop of rain turns to crystals in the sun. And it's just this beautiful moment that God never wastes a tear.
Yeah.
And no matter how hard we cry and no matter how bad it gets, that God sees every small life in Africa that may mean nothing to the rest of the world, and he sees every tear that we cry over those small, meaningless losses. And it's a beautiful ballad, and I absolutely love the song. And it's one of those songs that when I hear it every time as a pastor, I'm like, rally cry. I'm like, yes, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
He sees me. He sees the pain of the people that I'm helping. He sees those that don't ever get the validation or get the promises full out, but God sees and he cares. Every drop of rain turns to crystal in the sun. So,
okay, mine is it's a song called "Dirt" by The Collection, which is literally a band I've never heard of before and will probably never listen to any of their songs again, just because I don't know, whatever. But I heard the song, I don't even know where. I don't know how. They have a song that literally goes through 6, 7 Old Testament characters and 1 or 2 New Testament characters. And you know how, if you may have heard a pastor say this before, like, oh, every character in the Bible is sinful other than Jesus and whatever.
Yeah.
And you hear that and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, what? Okay. This song puts flesh on all of that. And it seems like it's just walking through the Old Testament narrative and like this downward spiral of evil that will never stop, saying that they're all like made of dirt, which they are. It's calling back to Genesis 2. God formed Adam out of the dirt and whatever. So it says, Abraham was scared to die, forsook his wife within the lie. I think I know the reason why, because he was made of dirt. And Joseph's coat was full of pride. The blood of goats won't wash you white. If I was his brother, I'd have lied and left him in the dirt. And Moses never entered into the land he thought was promised him. He took his people around again to pick manna from the dirt. And it just keeps going, dirt. Like even Peter and Paul, Peter fell to his own shame, denied his love, denied his name. He ran away when the people came to nail him to the dirt. Paul would sit upon his throne and kill us with the biggest stones, killing Stephen or being there with the people who stoned Stephen to death in Acts 6 or 7, and wrestle with the thorn unknown, a thorn up from the dirt. And then this long instrumental to really separate it out and make you just dwell in it, and you're like, and then it gets to this part. But if the nations had a father, this Moses or Abraham, Joseph would redeem his brothers. Moses held the waters up. David would become your love. Solomon would build the temple. Samson came to destroy evil. Peter soon became the rock, and Paul would lead the Roman flock. And it's all that I can do to keep my eyes off you. All that I can see is that you can't see the dirt in me. Oof.
Dude.
That one.
So what's the name of that?
It's called Dirt. Aptly named.
Gosh.
By the collection.
Yes. I know the collective or the collection.
The collection.
Yep. And mine was Blindside, when I remember. And so, hey, this has been fun. I don't know if I can say it's been refreshing by any means, but I also like...
If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, know our eyes are glistening with tears.
Know that this has not been an episode that I'm not leaving without sweat and tears literally pulling out of me.
This is our version of a Hot Ones interview where they keep eating those hot sauces. I've referenced that twice now. They keep eating those and they're just trying to talk, but they're crying.
No, you can't
but this is like
words.
Sad Ones.
Well, I will say deep emotions are not something I'm afraid of. And I love to, I pray over my kids every night. We will learn, laugh, listen, and love well. And in my mind, I'm like, it's the famous, it's basically V. It's Johnny V from, I don't know if you've ever heard of Johnny V. He was a guy that died of cancer. He was a coach in college basketball. No. He gave one of the best speeches of all time. He says, if I cry, laugh, and if I cry in a day, laugh in one day, and then and do something meaningful, basically I've had a full day. And I always love that thought process of like, this is a part of life is the pain, part of life is the tears, part of life is like thinking about the ways that God doesn't leave us in the dirt. He doesn't leave us in our hurt. He doesn't leave us in tears. He actually redeems us completely. So mass destruction, do your worst. God does better. Thank Jesus.
That's why I wanted to have a song like that on there. It's a little redeeming.
Yeah.
And it's also like a Christian worldview song.
Every tear turns to crystals in the sun. I can't get away from those lyrics. So hey, thanks so much for listening. Again, put your add-ins in the comments if we missed a song or if one of those resonates with you, or hit the like button or leave a positive review if you're on Spotify.
If you've shed a tear.
Yeah, you're required.
If you've shed a tear, let the weight of those tears push the thing on your mouse or whatever, or your phone to subscribe.
Let it be that.
Leave a review.
Let it be that moment. Well, we hope to see you back here next week. You guys have
less sad.
You have a great and glorious day in the Lord. We'll see you later.
See ya.